We've all been following this the last 24 hours. There's at least 35 cases filed across the U.S. to disqualify Trump from the 2024 ballot. More than a dozen cases across the country remain pending before the courts. Christina, what will happen if the Trump team is unsuccessful in overturning this disqualification?
Oh, I can't imagine a scenario in which they will be unsuccessful. I don't even think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a 5-4, maybe not even a 6-3 ruling. I think it's going to be a decisive victory like all of the other cases that we've seen. The vast majority, all of the cases have been resolved in favor of Trump being on the ballot. So I don't think this is going to be close. And I think it's going to end up being a huge victory for Donald Trump because it's going to shut down all of the other pending cases. You know, it's very disappointing that we have this ruling from the Colorado Supreme Court. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to cause a resolution to this much faster than we anticipated. So I think it may end up being a gift to Donald Trump.
Yeah, Ben, what about you? What's your reaction to Colorado Supreme Court ruling?
Well, I think this is a political, it's really an attempted legal assassination, but it's masquerading as a legal assassination. It's a political one, obviously. On the merits, I think this is a slam dunk case against the Colorado Supreme Court. On every single level, the fact the man's never been charged with insurrection, the fact that the 14th Amendment is about federal power over the states, and this is the state usurping its power over the feds, no due process, et cetera, et cetera. But the merits don't really matter here. The broader context is this. There is a lawfare assault against Donald Trump that extends from these dozens of cases, and I agree, by the way, to Christina's point, this going to the Supreme Court now, to the extent it does, and to the extent Donald Trump wins there, ends up taking wind out of the sails of the lawfare assailants here. But you also have the 4 other indictments and then the civil cases, and all of that is about legally assassinating Donald Trump, at very worst depriving him of his resources, and also putting maximum pressure on the Supreme Court to try and get it to fold, or worst case, delegitimize that institution, and maybe ultimately, if you're on the left, create a nullification crisis in this country. So the stakes could not be any higher. I hope the Supreme Court does rule 9-0 to the extent this case does get there. But the broader trend lines are incredibly disturbing, and it is about, quote unquote, saving democracy by eliminating the political opposition. And that should chill every American.
Yeah, so many Republicans, so many people calling this a direct attack on democracy. If the Supreme Court reverses this decision, that's a huge win for Trump. Is this something like we saw with his mugshot, where now we're being told he's selling the mugshot on cards worth thousands of dollars? Will this just only inflate him in a way to really just, everyone's getting behind him on this? Ben?
Well, for my vantage point, this shows once again that authoritarianism masquerading as fighting authoritarianism is on the ballot in 2024, and it wants to remove the Democratic opposition from the ballot in 2024. Americans have to understand and know what time it is. Will this ultimately buoy Donald Trump in the polls? It probably will, but this is just the appetizer for a whole gauntlet of cases coming down the pike. We obviously have Supreme Court likely to deal with the presidential immunity issues in the January 6th case. This assault is going to be nonstop, and Americans have to vote against this tyranny in 2024. If they do, that will be a rousing victory, I think, for Donald Trump.
Yeah, Christina, respond.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I completely agree with Ben. I think Donald Trump is going to have a landslide victory in 2024. This is going to be a boost to him. It's going to take the wind out of the sails of the Democrats right before this whole landslide of indictments and charges that go on trial in 2024. And I'm looking forward to the results because I think Donald Trump is going to have a great campaign and be back in the White House in 2025.
He is still as confident as ever, and the poll numbers are showing it as well. All right, Ben, Christina, thanks so much, guys.